Welcome back, everybody, to the Sticks and Stones Women's Talk Show. We're so excited you decided to join us again on another episode. Today is part 2 of our PSA announcement. For those of you who didn't watch it, we're talking about the epidemic right now happening about women trafficking, sex trafficking, and also organ trafficking. We did have a clip from the last time, so we do advise you definitely go back to the first video, part 1 of the PSA, just so you can get more understanding context of what it is that we're continuing today. Again, my name is Muriel, the founder of the Sticks and Stones Women's Ministry, and the mission of Sticks and Stones is to rebuild women one word at a time, and that word is the Word of God. And then the purpose and motive behind this show is to provide an alternative platform and media for women of faith. So we hope and pray that these episodes and these shows that we've been doing has been encouraging and even bringing awareness to certain things that you probably never even had a conversation about or maybe wasn't even really aware of. It's very important that we're always alert. So that's why we're bringing out these topics. I'm here, as usual, with my awesome co-hosts who are holding down the fort with me. I'm going to start backwards this time. To my left, I have...
Eartha, I was happy to join you guys. And welcome back to us.
Yes. And to my right...
This is Madeline. It's good to be here.
Awesome. So we're excited. We're so excited. Last time we recorded, it was on PSA, Women Again in Trafficking. We're going to just continue. We finished off with the topics when we were touching on tips, safety tips that we wanted to give you guys on how to stay safe, knowing what's going on right now with this epidemic. So the last point we talked about were emergency contacts. So if you have to go someplace alone, make sure to at least have one person who knows your plans or your location. Madeline, just touch up again upon some of the points that you made on that, or even if you had more things that you didn't get to share from the last one.
Oh yeah, just making sure that you have a trusted person who is aware of where you're going, when you expect to be back. Actually, I didn't mention this, making sure that you have your phone with you, it is fully charged, so that if there's ever a change in plans, you can contact someone, let them know, or if you have a real emergency, you can call for help.
That's true, that's true. Eartha.
And we said even when you're going somewhere, you're grown, people don't have to know your business, but for your own safety, the more information you can give, it will help you later, you know? And also anything that don't feel right, be open, you know? Share it with someone because it could help save your life later.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's one of the advice that we have that we wanted to give, because I realized maybe a lot of times maybe you're watching now and maybe you don't even have an emergency contact. But it's good to have one for yourself and then maybe even volunteer to be one for somebody else. You want to be accountable to somebody to be like, hey, sis, I know you're stepping out or you're traveling or you're going to be going to work or school today. Keep me posted. Let me know when you get there. Text me, so on and so forth, whoever it may be, whether it's a friend or a family member. So definitely even try to put yourself out there to be an emergency contact to somebody. The next safety tip we wanted to give is parking. For those of us who drive, the first point we made last time was about awareness for Boston, people who are walking, taking public transportation, and so on and so forth. So now we want to talk to our drivers. This one, if you're a driver, be very mindful and intentional about where you park, whether you're going to the grocery store, the shopping mall, etc. All right, who wants to start on this one?
I can start.
Yes.
I mean, most of the things that came to mind for me, I grouped them under what I'm calling car etiquette.
Car etiquette. I want to hear this one.
Okay. So, first one, whenever I do this, especially at night when I'm driving, whenever I get in the car, I automatically lock the doors. I lock the doors, or not to say if nothing's going suspicious. I watch too many movies to know. No, I'm not having, and I've seen people open doors and get in people's cars. That's not happening to me because my doors are locked. Okay?
True.
So one other thing is, at summer, listen, you have a car, your AC is not working, you can prop your windows down, but they don't need to be down all the way. You know
Where the whole body could fit in there.
Yes, or somebody's hand can go in there.
That's true.
Listen, it's for your own safety. Prop your windows down. If your car is moving, I can understand maybe your windows can be down, but again, for your own safety, don't pull your windows down all the way. Even at times, you know, what do they call them? Not your rear, even your rear view mirror, but your side mirrors.
Yeah.
You can see when somebody's coming up. You know, so I'm always, even though I'm driving, I'm sitting at a traffic stop, I'm always looking at those rearview mirrors. Somebody's coming. I see, oh, what do they want? Are they coming to me? You know what I mean? What's happening, you know? So use those. They're not just there for you to see when you need to make a left turn. You can see when people are coming up to you in your space as well. That's another one. To me, I feel like this should be common sense, but common sense is not so common nowadays.
That's true.
Do not give people rides you don't know. Because something happened. Actually, more than something happened. Maybe you want to share.
She cleared her throat really quickly.
Thank God I'm alive. So, no, this was back in 2012. Someone approached me, was asking, oh, where's the train station? And this was, I was actually working one day in New Haven. I didn't normally work in New Haven, but I was transferred to that office just for that day. And so a stranger comes up to me, where's the train station? I'm like, oh, it's somewhere over in that direction. And then we just kind of go our separate ways while I'm at the red light. And of course, I'm an adult. I should know better. But I just felt so bad. So I rolled down my window. I was like, hey, do you want to ride? And she got into the car. And immediately, the moment she closed the door, I'm thinking, oh, Jesus, please don't let her pull out a gun on me.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, what was I thinking? Like, I knew that I shouldn't be doing this. And all of that just totally got forgotten.
Yeah.
So thank God we found the train station. I dropped her off. She left. A sigh of relief after that happened. But I told myself, never again.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yeah.
And even the one where was it someone who got in someone's car to say, can they stay warm? And then they
Yes, that was actually on the news. I think last month, 2 people asked a woman if they can get into her vehicle just to stay warm because it was cold outside. The first person they asked said no, and she drove off. The second person they asked said yes. She let them into her car, and they robbed her.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I'm glad that they just took her money and not her life. But yeah,
crazy.
And that could have been my situation. Thank God it wasn't, but it's good to be aware, and especially if it's a stranger, you don't know who this person is, don't let them into your vehicle.
Right. Case in point, if I don't know you, you are not getting in my
Right. For sure. It's true, though.
I mean, you got to know at least someone who I know is in the car to get in the car. I'm saying this not to be mean, but it's for your own safety, right?
It's true.
So also, even people at night asking you for directions. Hey, miss, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to be rude, but I'll have the windows open and slightly cracked. Yes, can I help you? You know what I mean? I mean, this one, I felt some type of way, even at night, because this has happened to someone I know where someone's on the street asking for money, and it was at night, and then she pulled her window down, trying to be nice to give them money, they pulled a gun on her.
Oh, my God.
Because it was at night, late at night.
Yeah.
If it's in the middle of the day, listen, I will do it, but at night, it's
limits.
for my own safety, you know what I mean? And then this last one, people don't really think about, but especially as women, your car, you're on the side of the road, you get a flat tire. Listen, well, a lot of people actually don't even have AAA, right? So now you're stuck in the side of the road. You're open for anyone to come do anything because you're on foot. So I say if your car breaks down for whatever reason or you have a flat tire, if you feel safer calling 911, have a police just standing there waiting with you.
That's true.
I'm sure they won't mind to say, hey, I'm in the side of the road, you know, and I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Either I don't have AAA or AAA is on their way. I don't feel safe. Can you please send someone to stay there with me? I don't think it would kill you to do that if you feel safer. So most of the ones I thought were they're car related because it's parking, but I call them
car etiquette.
You know
I like
mean?
that. That's fancy.
Yes.
And I mean, part of this is also related to what we saw in the video clip about being mindful what cars are parked next to you.
Yes.
Obviously, don't park next to big vans, not just because you could get abducted, but also if I see 2 tall vans parked near each other, I'm going to make the assumption there's a drug deal going down. I don't want to be a witness to that. You're also thinking, how am I going to see to get out of the parking spot without hitting somebody? So there are many reasons why you don't want to do that. Don't park in an isolated area because it's very easy for 2 vehicles to come up and cut you off. So stay away from that. Make sure you stay in an area that is very well lit. It's just good to be around other people who can see if something is off.
Shady.
Yeah.
Shady. Yep, exactly.
Right. There was something Maudlin mentioned to me I thought was interesting when we discussed this. She was saying, well, even your car, going back to the car, make sure, like, let's say you see some stuff going on funny with the car. You're like, oh, it'll get me to my point of destination.
Yeah, that's
Next
true.
thing you know, it's midnight. You're stuck somewhere, and your car, you know what I mean, goes down on you.
Yeah.
So if you already had just taken care of that issue, now you wouldn't have an issue. Second thing, always make sure you have a cell phone on you. That could save your life. And one thing that was very important. People will be like, oh, I'll go take a shortcut right here. Next thing you know, they're driving through the woods
Oh my gosh.
at night because it's a
scariest one.
shortcut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a shortcut,
Especially
but
when
it
you're
could
by
end your
yourself.
life, right? So I'm like, especially, it's a shortcut. Either you don't have cell phone, all of a sudden, because you're in the woods, you don't have no cell phone service.
Signal, right?
You know what I mean? Your signals, no. You're just open bait, waiting for something to happen, and absolutely not. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? So it's something that can save your life.
It's true.
Just for the sake. Listen, you get there 5 minutes later, it's not gonna kill you.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So-
Agreed. No, those are some really, really good points.
Right.
One of the things that came to mind with when we talk about with parking, because you said car etiquette, so this is what triggered it. Nowadays, there's the Ubers and the Lyfts that are going on.
Yes.
And there was something that went around, like, you know, they do these like chain text messages where, you know, you got to make sure that the car that you ordered per se or you
Yeah.
booked for is the same, the exact car. Like, you got to look at the license plate, you got to look at the car description, you know, what the color is, the model,
driver and-
the driver. So that's very important nowadays too, because again, this goes back to awareness. Point number one that we did in the last recording is the fact that people sometimes are so into their phone, somebody pulls up and you just get in and you're going.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're not even realizing the details. It's like, okay, it's the same car, but you know, okay, maybe they made a mistake with the color. You know, so something as small as that. Just a small, brief story. I actually recently, probably about 3 months ago, took an Uber from the train station because I needed to get somewhere in Boston. And Boston parking is horrible, as well as the traffic. So I was like, I'm not paying for parking. It's too expensive. So I did take an Uber from the North Station. And the guy, he was pretty nice. He's kind of wanting to talk to me. And I'm like, I really don't want to talk right now. I just want to get to my destination. He was telling me a story that he picked up a lady who, I'm going to say her name was Sarah. And, you know, he was like, he could tell the lady's waiting for a ride. He's like, oh, is this Sarah for Uber? And she's like, oh, yes, it is. Like, oh, you came a lot faster than I thought. She got in the car. He got a call like, hi, this is the Uber. Like, I ordered an Uber. He's like, what's your name? She's like, my name is Sarah. And so both of the people were the same name, but he ended up picking up somebody else. And the person was like, can you please just bring me to where I need to get to? I have an emergency, so on and so forth. And the other lady had to cancel her driver. So, you know, it's important not only for those who are getting in, but even those who are driving, because some women do Ubers and Lyfts. So it's very important that you're mindful of who it is you're picking up. So like you were saying about the buyers and the sellers, it's important with something like this too. You're working and you want to make sure that you have, you know, you have the right and proper exact information. Because now with technology, like everything's at the tip of your fingers and everything's supposed to be convenient, but sometimes a convenience can be an inconvenience as well.
Right.
So we gotta be very careful not to, you know, where to draw the line. So so definitely there we were talking about parking, not parking in front of, you know, in the middle of like two trucks and all that stuff. I think that's very, very important.
I mean, going back to I think the initial point you made, Maudlin, not trying to make people paranoid, because I know me, now that I know all of this, anytime I see like white vans anywhere.
That was me when I got the information.
Sorry. Anytime I see white vans anywhere,
Hey.
unless I see a company name on it, or I can see what's inside.
Yeah.
I see myself standing there like when people are around and I find myself going to, not trying to make people paranoid. That's not the intent.
No, exactly.
Right, you know what I mean? We don't want you to be paranoid. Just be aware. But no, I'm just saying you're not finding Eartha parking next to white vans.
Yes, exactly.
Because
or even dark blue vans
any van.
with no symbol on it. No,
You
trust
know,
me.
Exactly.
It's true, but you know what they always say: it's better to be safe than sorry. So hey, if you get to that point, hey, at least you knew you were proactive and in what is going on at the moment. The other safety tip we wanted to put out was internet trolls. We did talk about the social media, like when we're traveling, so on and so forth, but this is a little bit different. In regards to internet trolls, what we mean is to be cautious of whom you're interacting with on social media and the information you're putting out there. So a lot of us may be aware of, catfish. Where you're interacting with certain people online. And sometimes it's not something that you intentionally do. Sometimes it's email scams like, hey, you just won like, $5,000. Or recently some of the things that I've gotten is like, oh, like your Amazon shipment is on its way. And, you click on a link and, little stuff like that. Like that's very important not to be caught up in stuff like that. So that, that's what I thought about when I thought about the internet trolls. Because sometimes people are playing off to be something they're not. I had somebody who applied for a job, they did the whole interview, and the whole time it was via email back and forth. And they're asking, send us what your resume, sent the resume. Okay, what's your, and asking more and more information. Even if you're looking for like apartments, online, cars, those are internet trolls as well, because they're giving false advertisement about something, and then you come to find out that it's really not who they say they are. So that's what I thought about when I thought about internet trolls. I'm not sure what you guys put down. I'm going to start with you.
I think my biggest concern with the internet and what I do is being mindful of who you friend on social media, who you follow. I personally, especially on Facebook, I generally don't like to accept friend requests from people I've never met in person. If we're not friends in real life, then we're not going to be friends on Facebook. Just because I'm not on Facebook like that. And because really, I see Facebook as a way to maintain friendships. Sometimes contact information changes. You forgot to update somebody with your new phone number. It's nice to be able to get in touch with you if I need to see you. But as far as we met online and all I know about you is whatever you're putting online, no, we're not friends.
That's true.
And you know what? As you're mentioning that, Madeline, I'm realizing on our Facebook, we're basically giving everyone a full profile of who we are. I'm not saying it's your Facebook. You're welcome to put whatever you want, but the more information you put on Facebook, the more people can find out about you, where you live, where you work, what you plan to do, the easier it is for them to find you. Not just when you're going on vacation, you're gonna tell them I'm here, I'm this, but over time, especially if somebody's stalking you, over time, just from even from your Facebook pictures and throughout the year, they've realized, okay, I know her whole year schedule. On January from this, she's usually here. She usually does this in the summer. She has this fall job over here, because you're giving them that information. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So I'm saying be mindful of what you put on your social media, because it could be detrimental to your safety.
It's true. It's true. Right. And then again, we were talking about womanhood in media. People find that media is a place where they find a sense of identity and a sense of care. Like they feel like, okay, there's a level, they find validation there. And so that's why a lot of times people are doing something for their, and it makes them feel good, not realizing it's it's detrimental to them as well. Right. So it is I like what you said in regards to that, and what it is that you're putting out there, because it could be a detriment. It really can be a detriment to you.
And I think, Madeline, you were the one who brought it up to me, that online you can just put someone's name, and maybe it might not give you their specific address, but it tells you at least which state they're in. I'm like, that's just making it
even their age, right?
Sometimes it can, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I know there are reports out there. If you pay, they'll give you more information.
I have seen that.
But all you got to do is run somebody's phone number, and it'll tell you who owns that phone number.
Wow.
Where is that phone number out of? I know for one of my friends, I think. I need to know how to spell his, or I was looking up like colleges in his area. And so I was pretty sure he was in the Atlantic City area, but I wasn't 100% sure. And I'm like, okay, if I text him, how long is it going to take for him to respond? Oh, let me just Google his name. And it popped up, Atlantic City.
Wow.
So much faster than a text would.
Wow. At the tip of your fingers.
That is scary.
That is.
Because someone could be looking at for you in the world. Now they know, okay, I need to spend time. It could have taken me a year to find you. Now I know what state you're in. It just made it easier for me to find you.
That's
Especially
so
if you don't have a common name. Yeah, there aren't like
especially
25,000 John Smiths to look for.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one Eartha or one Maudalene.
Who lives in Massachusetts.
Right.
I don't need to travel to it.
I know, right? Let's not put our business out there now. No, that's so true. That is so true.
I'm not saying we live in Massachusetts.
right. You don't even know if we're recording in Massachusetts.
Exactly.
You don't even know that. You know.
That's funny.
No, it's true. It's so true. We have to be aware in regards to the internet trolls because nowadays internet is on a whole nother level than it's ever been. That's where you get information. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's kind of like everything's at the tip of your fingers. The other one, second to last one, we're already almost done with the tips, is location. We kind of touched on that. Maudalene touched on that. And what we mean by that is to stay away from hidden places as best as possible. We talked about those who are walking, running, etc. Try to stay in a public area that is well lit with people.
We've heard too many stories of women who went jogging and that was it.
Yeah. That's true.
Last they heard of them.
Right. I always say, in addition to the location, before you go somewhere, do your research. If I'm going to certain neighborhoods, I want to know what's the rap for the neighborhood. Is it a good neighborhood? Is it a bad neighborhood? So if I know if this is a shady neighborhood, my alert is even more up. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to name neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? I know some neighborhoods are rep. Be alert, right? So also, this I've gotten in the habit of doing. Whenever I get into a building or anywhere, I automatically eye where all the exits are. So in case I needed to make a quick getaway, I know exactly where to run to.
That's good.
You know
I did not think of that. That's
right.
good.
Or even in a car, like if I'm driving, I'm like, okay, I see a street here. It's like the rush hour movie. You go that way, I go this way. I went back to see my husband. I was like, listen, anything happen, you go this way, I go that way. You know what I mean? So things like that. Even when going to your house at night or anytime, I see some people, that's when they get to the door, that's when they're fishing for their keys.
Oh, that's so true.
Listen, somebody was running after you, that's when you're fishing for your keys.
Yeah.
The minute I park, before I even unlock my doors, my keys are in my hand.
That's
you know
a good
what I mean?
safety
So
tip
that
right
the
there.
minute I get inside, the keys go in, I don't have to wait 1 second.
That's
after
true.
Yeah, actually, sorry. To piggyback off of that, going into your building, don't assume that the person walking into the building behind you actually lives in the building.
That's so true.
I know we have a tendency to be nice. We like to hold the door
Doors,
open.
yeah.
If it's someone you know your neighbors, that's perfectly fine. But especially for people living in apartment buildings, if you do not know the person, you don't recognize them, don't try to be all extra nice, like, sure, come on in, because maybe they're not authorized to be in that building. Maybe they don't live there. Maybe they got kicked out. Whatever the case may be. I know that's a big deal at my job. They always tell us, make sure you always have your badge. It's visible, and don't just let anybody walk in.
Right.
Apply that in your home life as well, and just don't let strangers in.
And my last one actually is personal to me because it happened to me. Where it was a while ago. I was in middle school. I was on the bus. We're going home, and it's so funny. Being aware, I was alert because there were they were older than me, but I could hear them talking, saying, hey, you know, her keys is in her hand, maybe you should. They were planning. So I'm like, something's fishy here. So I was holding, what I did, the key ring, I just stuck it in my finger. So I had extra hold of it, but the key was right there because, again, I wasn't waiting till I get to my house to pull my key out.
Right.
So the key was in my hand, I'm standing in the bus. Just when the group of guys were getting off the bus, one of them, they weren't even looking at me, one of them just took my key and he was about to snatch my key. So in his mind I was gonna run after him.
Wow.
But because my key was so tight in my hand, when he got in, he saw it wasn't coming. I'm on the bus like fighting him for like, excuse me. And then I hit the guys like, why didn't you get her key? And then the bus already closed the door and we left. So had I let him snatch my key, a part of me would have wanted to run after him. So that's my tip. If somebody snatch anything, listen, it's material, do not run after them. It's
That's
the
good.
key or your life. You can make another key. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because it happened to me, and I was young. I was in middle school at that time.
Wow.
So, but I feel like that was God protecting me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So God protects you all the time. But because it happened to me, it can happen to you too.
It's true.
So
that's good, because what it is that you know, Eartha's talking about is they use bait.
yes.
You know what I mean? There's
Right.
certain bait that people may use. I was even hearing with the whole trafficking that's going on in organ trafficking, it's getting so much worse and worse that they'll put stuff on your, like the lady was saying, on your car. Or they'll be like, okay, like you want, you know, oh, I'm a business person. They'll give you a business card, and on the card it has some type of, you know, some type of poison or residue that'll make you, you know, either fall asleep behind the wheel or something like that, and they'll follow you until they get you in a place where there's nobody there, where you're unconscious. Or, you know, I remember way back a few years, there would be like this scam where they would put like a baby seat in the middle of the road with a blanket, and people would stop and look at it. And, you know, if they stopped, then people would either get snatched or so on and so forth. So that's what you said made me think of, like the bait. They would use certain bait to get people to stop in their tracks so they can capture who it is that they need to capture. So it's so important to do that. And then for the last point that we wanted to give, which is optional, it's very, very optional, is mace or some form of weapon, etc. If you feel like, you know, I know you said, Eartha, you put the key in your hand, you know, through your finger. Though he was gonna snatch it, hey, sometimes that could be something that kind of.
Take my finger away.
Right, exactly. Hey, in a sense too, that could have been a weapon. You know what I mean? Just in case, we're not telling you to hurt people, but sometimes you need that sense of security or protection. So some people may have some type, I'm not saying like a weapon. I know there's a whole ordeal going on with, you know, guns and so on and so forth, but something that you may feel like protects you. Some women take some type of like classes for self-defense.
Actually.
Yeah, touch on that.
Speaking of which, this is a Kubaton.
Oh, wow.
Demo.
I know, demo.
I actually got this as part of my RAD class, which stands for Rape Aggression Defense.
Wow.
I took that at Boston University, and I know a lot of colleges do offer it free of charge. So if you're in school and it works with your class schedule, do take advantage of that. And make sure if you are using something like this, you are trained on how to use it properly, because even if you use it properly, there is still a chance you could, you know, you could cut yourself with this. And so make sure you're properly trained if you choose to use it. It'll get snatched by TSA, so don't take it in your carry-on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Make sure it goes in your checked baggage. But it's just, if it makes you feel safer,
That's good.
It's good to have it around. Make sure it's already in your hand as you're walking before you get to your destination. That's not
good.
like when you're trying to fish through for it. But whether it's a RAD class or any other type of self-defense class, I definitely encourage it.
I was going to say, before I move on with Eartha, just give us a little brief explanation of kind of like what that is for those who don't know, and how is it used? You know, a little brief little info.
If I remember correctly from the class, some people look at this and be like, oh, so you hold this and then you like swat somebody. No, that's exactly the opposite. You're supposed to hold it here so that you have a good grip on it. Put a ton of keys on here, and then you kind of
hit it with the keys.
Yeah, and that's supposed to cut them, just do enough damage to get the person, your assailant, far away, so you can run,
gives you some time,
go get help, get to a safe place.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not intended to actually like do a lot of damage. It's just to give you enough time to get to a safe place.
No, that's so good. I'm so glad you brought that out.
I would say, for me, if anyone, not just women, again, guys think they're tough. Listen, anyone, take any general self-defense class.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Good.
And also, pepper spray doesn't hurt. You know what I mean?
Yes,
just like simple pepper spray, you know, you can have with you. It's just for your safety. You know what I mean? So I don't think so. General self-defense and weapon, pepper spray, you know, or something simple, not major weapons. Simple, just to protect yourself.
There's maybe some others as well. Maybe you guys can share with us maybe some things that you've used or that you carry around with you as well that maybe have become helpful, or maybe you haven't had to use it. Thank God for that.
Right.
But you've been taught to use in order for, to keep yourself safe as well.
Right.
So we're so glad that we were able to bring this forth. We thought it was definitely a great segment into our next, episode per se, so that we can look out for one another and looking out for ourselves. We need each other. So it's good, it's important that we keep ourselves safe, and of course, keeping those that we're surrounded with safe as well. Knowledge is wealth. And especially for something like this that it has our lives at risk, it's so important that we're able to let others know what is going on. Again, we're so excited you were able to join us on another show. We're hoping that you'll be sticking around again for our next one and that you'll stay tuned. Thank you again, and I hope you guys have a great one.